You're in a very lucky situation. You can compare to what I said 5 years ago.
Yeah. Do you think it's an interesting situation just to compare?
I don't know. I mean, there's probably a difference. I mean, probably 5 years ago, I told you that I don't feel so comfortable if someone labels my record as a pop record.
Yes, I do remember
And
that.
these days, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's a huge evolution.
Definitely.
But it's really strange that you mentioned that, because my first question is about the Sascha I'm going to talk to right now. Because I noticed that maybe there are probably two kind of Sascha. There's one who makes people dance, and the other one who makes people cry.
And you can do both at the same time.
Crying
Crying
and
at the
dancing on the
discotheque.
same floor.
Well, yeah, but you're pretty right. I mean, the thing is, that's because I started as I mean, even though nobody knows, but I was a techno DJ, you know, and then I slowly evolved into what I am these days. But it always felt a little strange. I mean, because I've been making listening music since a long time, and I'd still played at clubs, so I had to adapt the listening music and transform it somehow into something you can play in a club to a dance crowd. And I think it worked out more or less. But now, at this point, with this new album, it's pretty much impossible. It means I would have to make completely new remixes of these songs, and it's pointless. Why should I? I mean, I want to present the music as it is, and basically for the first time. I mean, I kind of tried to do that with Waltz before, and it didn't really work so much because the approach was too electronic. There was a computer in the band, and the computer told us what to do. Bandmaster is the computer. That's wrong, definitely. And I think these days I just prefer the complete old school approach. I want to play the album as it is with a band on stage, and there's no dancing situation at all. And for me, it's also a relief because I don't have anybody, I have to make anybody dance anymore.
Today, do you consider a computer as a simple recording tool or a new type of instrument?
That's another thing that changed during the years, because when I started making computer music, the computer was basically, for me, it was my main tool to express myself, and it opened a gate to a new galaxy of sound. Also because back in the days it was there was much more unexplored territory. The whole possibilities of computer-generated sounds weren't really. It wasn't all done. Maybe it's still not done. Everything's still not done today. But you can get a free plug-in for almost every sound you want. So it's not really a challenge anymore. And also maybe I've been doing that for quite a while, and so it changed. These days the computer is. It's funny you said if I consider the computer as a recording device or as an instrument. For me, it's both. It's a recording device, a simple record, and it's one more instrument in my band. But I don't consider it as my instrument anymore. It's just a sound in the whole pack of sounds.
And it doesn't dictate anymore the textures or the orientation of the music or the structure of your song.
Well, you know, I think the moment when everything changed was when I started writing songs without a computer. Most of these songs you hear on the record, they started as ideas on a piano or just recorded stuff on my telephone, like or maybe lyrical ideas I wrote. Pretty much an old school way of writing songs, but I've never done it before. So for me, it's kind of really exciting. And also, since I work this way, I don't get lost in all these possibilities the computer gives you anymore. I have a much more focused way of working. I have a song idea, and then I start recording stuff, and obviously then I start using a computer, but basically as a recording tool. And then I might feel like taking 2 days off, sitting somewhere with my computer and headphones and just do sound design. I still like to do that, but not all the time and not like crazy. It's just like a part of the whole thing, and then maybe I do it for a little while, and then I have enough material for the next month or something.
Sometimes it starts with a kind of banjo or a guitar or chords, treated chords. could be John Cage's or Steve Reich or people like that playing things.
Definitely.
And the structure is kind of evolution. So that it's an amazing process. Great.
It's funny you mentioned Steve Reich because obviously he has been a big influence on what I'm doing these days. It's because I've always been into orchestral sounds, like all kinds of like the wind instruments, strings and mallets, and also his approach, the repetitive thing, slowly shift of patterns, slowly shifting. That's a very electronic approach with completely unelectronic tools. That's pretty impressive, and I that was a little bit my idea as well. You know, making. I mean, most of the most of the sounds are real instruments, but some are treated in an electronic way, and then some are electronic instruments, and then they are just played through the whole song, like you would play an instrument. So it's just some rules upside down, whatever. And of course, in the end, it's not like a completely groundbreaking new sound, but for me, it's definitely a very big step. Also, because the whole production was a big relief for me. It was kind of like a complete change to how I worked before. And that gives me hope that I can do a lot more records, because at some points I thought that's my last record. I can never do a record anymore. This is the end of the road.
Why? Because you're fed up?
Yeah, because I also I felt
you achieved a certain progression. There's a kind of achievement this record.
I think I noticed I start repeating myself, and because I have this certain way of doing things, and because I'm not
classically trained.
I'm not classically trained, but I stopped before I said that, because I think even classically trained people get stuck at some point in their professional attitude and the way they do things. So maybe that's just the right thing for everybody from time to time. Just throw all the old knowledge away and search for some new things. Yeah, habits is a good word. Yeah, just don't care about the old habits and try something a new way. And that's what I did this time, with I think quite pleasant results. Like a few years ago, I built myself a very nice studio, and I got very comfortable there. I know where everything is, and I have my favorite sounds. Habits, you know. And also, it sounds quite nice. It sounds like a proper studio. If you do recordings, a drum kit, of course, you can still record it in a weird way, but in the end, I wanted to record in a non-studio environment, and that's why I went to Mexico. Also because I didn't want to spend the winter in Berlin, obviously. But Mexico, for me, was the opportunity to record outside of a studio and more in a playful way. We were recording in a garage, and then we had this big living room with this kind of like really big palm tree leaf roof, which had a very nice acoustics. So basically, Mexico, for me, was the chance to break out of my studio work flow a little bit and do stuff differently.
Did you met Mexican musicians, people from Norteria, or all the Norte collective, people who mixed electronic and experimental and traditional Mexican music?
Yeah. We played a show with the guy from Norte collective before, and I met them. Nice people. We were just talking, but it's not that we had like artistic exchange. But also the thing is, Mexico has quite a big music scene, and also a very educated one when it comes to music and electronic music, even though they don't have much music media and stuff. So I have some friends there who are musicians, and they got us a drum kit and a guitar amp and stuff like that. So that was quite easy, and to get a little studio to work over there. And that was also a main reason to go there, because it has infrastructure for me. Quite an unusual location change because of a few raindrops. Ta-da!
Some voices hold a special place close to your heart. The singing, the melodies and the textures.
No, I mean, quite a long time I thought I will never need any vocals in my music. It was just not necessary, because I was completely in a different world. And I think the main reason I use a lot of vocals these days is that it's a very direct way of expressing yourself. You don't need any interface, no mouse, no like guitar and strings and stuff. It's very fast, quick, and basically the shortest way to your idea. And this was also a little bit of the reason to make a record like that, not a crazy computer, nightmare, you know.
Broken beats and electronic brain dance.
Not a brain dance record. Yeah, that basically the main goal was to make to get the idea nailed down very quickly before it fades away or before you destroy it somehow or you get lost in the technical thing.
Are you involved into the writing process of the lyrics?
Yeah. I mean, it's all done. The work has to be done, you know.
Yeah, I know that. Then maybe you can feel uncomfortable with that.
Okay. Yeah, no, definitely. It's for me. It's the hardest part of it all, and it takes a long time to write lyrics. I mean, basically, sometimes I would start with one sentence, and then I add another one, and 4 months later I go back to it, and it slowly grows. But usually it takes a long time until I think it's ready to sing. But there are a few exceptions. Sometimes. There are these songs when you start some melody. For example, Ash was one of these songs. There's a very inspiring chord change going on, whatever, and suddenly you start singing and you mumble some stuff, but you can already hear some words in there, and then you start writing stuff down, and it comes from somewhere and you don't know where, but it makes sense, and you keep it like that. And usually these are the songs where you end up with the first vocal take. Ash, for example, it's the very first take I sung. No overdubs, nothing. And this last song, Your House, is the same thing. It really I tried it 2 times and then I was like, oh yeah, these are the lyrics. I wrote them down and then I sung the song. That's it. And this is the magic moment. And basically, I wanted to make a record like that, but it's gonna take 6 years.